Hi, this is Kim Thompson-Pinder of the Author to Authority podcast, and today I'm so excited to be sharing this podcast with Christina Johnson, and she is a newly found friend and kindred spirit, and Christina Johnson is the founder of Testimony Publishers, and she works with moms to help them create their book. And I'm excited to have you on today, Christina.
Thank you for having me, Kim. I am doubly excited to be here.
So just before we get into it, I just want to remind our listeners that I love to give away things. So if you're looking for ways to use your words powerfully to be able to build your business and attract high-paying clients, then get my free book, PowerWords, at www.PowerWords.pro/freebook. Now, Christina, you are the author of quite a few books, aren't you?
Yes, I am actually.
And you're also the mother of how many kids?
Oh my. Okay, well, my husband and I have 8 children together. And before you even ask, yes, I gave birth to them all. They are between the ages of 3 and 12.
Wow.
And I homeschool, so yes, it is a lot. My hair should be all gray, but at the same time, they are wondrous gifts from their divine gifts from on high. So they bring me so much joy too.
That is awesome. So tell us a little bit about your story.
Okay. Well, in reference to myself and my personal journey, just as a human being that happened to fall into writing later on, basically I came from very humble beginnings. My mom and dad were married pretty early, and they had me outside of wedlock. So scrambling around, trying to make things right and find themselves and get their lives together was a journey within itself. And as far as my beginnings, I was touched in so many different ways as a student of hard knocks. The School of Hard Knocks taught me a lot of lessons early on, but it's those lessons that actually helped me. They acted as the catalyst to push me into entrepreneurship, sharing my story and sharing it with the world to connect the world. Another thing I wanted to say as well, I grew up in a very tough area of Baltimore City, Maryland. So if you know anything about Baltimore, or I have to say it in my native tongue, Baltimore, it is a wondrously dynamic city. At the same time, it has many, many issues that we're still working on, even as we speak. But growing up in Baltimore, we experienced run-ins with the police. We heard the siren going on, just like it was just birds chirping in the background. So we had to learn at a very early age to, be very careful with what we said, where we went, and everything about us. We just had to be so conscious. Situational awareness, I think, is what they call it. But that actually helped to create character within myself as well. And then in growing up as well, some of the situations that I found myself in because of, my parents being absent. I was a latchkey kid. And my parents putting a lot of responsibility on us children. I found myself in some situations where I actually experienced sexual abuse at a very, very early age. So when something like that happens, the late author and Nobel Peace Prize winner Maya Angelou said, when you go through an experience like that, like any type of sexual abuse, it causes cynicism in many people. So when you become a cynic at an early age, you find it very difficult to trust people, to even share yourself. And then when you share yourself, how do you do that? The messages and the lessons are kind of so mixed up and meshed together finding my way back from that place has been the journey and the story. So it actually moved me when I started to kind of reflect later on in life. And, I went to college, found, more of who I was and who I wanted to be. And in doing that, it helped me to kind of identify what I wanted to do. And I've always pretty much been a great talker. I can talk to anyone, and I love to tell stories. So I believe God is using that now to help people share their stories. And that's what I do. I help people to craft their stories and polish them and get it to the point where they can be proud to share the story and also serve other people, because it's not just about talking about who you are and getting your story out there for the world to read all about you. It's also about having a servant's heart and getting that story out so that you can help others.
That is awesome.
Thank you.
How did you transition into writing and becoming a publisher?
Wow. Do you have time, Kim?
No. You got 3 minutes.
I know, right? Well, to make a long story short, I always felt like an entrepreneur. Okay. My earliest memories are of me selling stuff. Whether it was like my, just selling my story and trying to get someone to believe what I believe, or whether it was me selling something I made or wrote. My very first experience with entrepreneurship was when I was about 7 years old, and I wanted to go to camp. Oh my goodness. I had to get to summer camp. But we were not financially able to do that. And I remember convincing my parents to front me the money so that I could sell candy and cookies to the children that were able to go to camp. So I stood outside and I'm selling, candies and cookies. I think I had juices and something or another. And I'm making money. I brought home, like every day I was bringing home like $20, and kept it on for weeks. So to make a long story shorter, I paid my parents back for the money they fronted me. And when I got a taste of my own money, it was just like, I don't want to go to camp anymore. I'm going to set up another store. So that was like my entrepreneurship bug. And it's gone on ever since. And it's always been about serving people. I had a 501(c) that was operating. We did edutainment, and we helped people to kind of see their situation and move from where they were to a place where they wanted to be in life, all the way to testimony publishers, where we're helping people to share their stories.
Awesome. So first of all, just before we get into the tips you're going to share today,
okay,
I want you to talk a little bit about why it's so powerful to share your story.
Wow. I always say our stories are like our fingerprints. You can't really see my fingerprints, but fingerprints I narrowed it down to like 2 things. The first thing our fingerprints do is tell people we're human. Okay, we're part of the human race. Okay, you can look at my fingerprints. This is, who I am. And then another thing our fingerprints do, it distinguishes us from everyone else. So that's what our stories do. Our stories distinguish us from other people, while at the same time connecting us through our stories, through the words we share. So whenever I thought about something that I wanted to do, I wanted to share myself, I wanted others to share themselves, and I wanted us to connect. And the way that I've always found, an easy way to do it was to share words. And now it's just like words on a paper, just like you're doing here, words, on a podcast. Sharing your story is so powerful. So that's basically what drove me to kind of want to share stories, connecting people.
And I think that, I think that's why books and movies are so popular and so powerful, is because they share stories. Like with my clients, even though we do nonfiction books for professionals, I always encourage them, they've got to share their story in this book. Like the book is not just about things for them to do and overcome and all this other kind of stuff, but it's got to be about creating that relationship through stories.
Exactly,
And do you
exactly.
feel as an entrepreneur that knowing your story is a key foundational element to success?
It definitely is. Now, you can be successful without sharing your story. There are a myriad of people who've done that. But for the most part, when you find people who are starting from scratch, they're building grassroots operations and whatnot. The quickest way to make a connection is to tell your story. But you can't tell your story if you don't know your story. And a lot of people have to find that time to set aside and really, really think about, who they are and what they want to express to other people through their stories. And once they get that idea and that story is crafted just right, then they'll definitely be able to not only share their story, but they'll also be able to make the connection with the people that will be ideal for them. In the publishing industry, we call it their ideal audience or their ideal reader. So that story that they've shared will make that connection. And it's almost immediately, when they can make that connection because of a story that they shared or an experience in life that they're actually sharing, and then intertwining it into the actual content that they want to share. And you do that well in your publishing company, Kim, where you have people to share their stories and you publish them in book form. And these stories help to drive home the overall message.
Well, one of the things I found, and you can talk about a little bit more, is as an entrepreneur, if you want people to know, like, and trust you, I found one of the easiest ways is by writing a book. When you write a book where you share a story, they get to know you, they get to like you. And then, for us, we share nonfiction books that just provide tremendous amount of value. So, when you provide that tremendous amount of value, you've covered the know, like, and trust factor that's needed. Is that something you would agree with?
I totally agree. And you know what? One step further, everything that you said is spot on. Another thing you have with a book, and I know you already know this, you have that person's undivided attention for that span of time. So when they open that book, it is a private conversation from that point on. And you have their attention. You can say what you want to say to them, and you can express whatever view you want. And then you don't even really have to hear their opinion right off the bat immediately, right? You don't have to hear their opinion unless they go and write a review or whatever. But for the most part, those reviews and the feedback that you get, for the most part, they're usually supportive, and they're giving you key points. If they didn't like something, they're telling you how it can be better or whatnot. So don't, veer away from writing because of the feedback you get, because it has been an awesome experience, the feedback that I've gotten. Yes. And most people do really want you to write a really great book, so they'll give pointers and things like that. But definitely, everything you said is so true.
All right, so I know you've prepared some amazing hints and tips for our listeners today. So I want to make sure I give you an opportunity to share them.
Okay, real quick. I just have two that I wanted to share. The first one, I really thought it was going to be important. I do this a lot. I deal with mindset first. So whenever, like you said, how can you share your story if you don't know your story? So that's a big thing. For me, that's one of the main things, the mindset issue, not only knowing who you are, but also getting into the idea of overcoming fear. Yes. Now, I've given FEAR an acronym. F.E.A.R. Stands for Fiction Embraced as Reality. A lot of times, we make up these scenarios in our mind. Okay, we make these things up, and we create these scenarios and all of these things. Like, oh my goodness, seriously? You don't even know that that's going to happen, but you're making it up in your mind, and it's stopping you from doing the one thing that you have been called to do. Most often when people want to share their stories, it's because they've been divinely called. So whatever you believe, God's name to be, religion, this, that, the other, okay, that's fine. But it is a divine calling to write a book and share your story and serve other people, period. So when you're doing that, when you've been called to do that, and you aren't doing that, then it's a problem. You're doing yourself a disservice. You're doing the people that need to hear your story a disservice as well. So overcome fear. Overcome those thoughts and those ideas of, I'm not good enough. Am I deserving of even being an author? Do I have what it takes? Overcome the fear and just get started with the first word. And that brings me to the second point, which is write without writing. I have kind of crafted a couple of questions that allow my clients to write their story without even having to write it. And it involves a dictation piece. So a lot of people already know about the dictation software out there. There are tons of paid software that you can use where you can kind of speak your words and have them written down. But a lot of people don't even know that Google has a free voice typing feature.
Yes, it does.
Yes, whenever you go into Google Docs, you can pull up a new document or any document, and you'll see in the tools area the voice typing feature. So I usually tell my clients to use that, because really the best books, when you think about it, it's like you're having a conversation with the author and they're just speaking directly to you. So when you have a conversation using the voice typing feature in Google or any type of dictation software, it's like you're having a regular, go ahead.
I think it's even available in Microsoft Word now.
Yeah, they have the dictate button right up there on the bar. Exactly. So it is there. So once you Microsoft, I think it's like between $9.99 and $19.99 a month or something like that. But once you pay for that, then the dictation feature is free within the software. Yes, perfect. But that's exactly what I tell them to do. Overcome fear and then write without writing. Just get your story out, and you can always go back and edit it and proofread and all of that good stuff. So just get the story out there.
Yeah, we have a saying that we use in RTI publishing, and that we say perfect is the enemy of done.
Yes. Oh my goodness.
And we have to tell our clients that, and as soon as they hear it, they're like, we know.
Wow.
Because they get into analysis paralysis, right? Where they just analyze it. It's got to be perfect. You and I both know there is no such thing as a perfect book.
Right.
I mean, even if we looked at just grammar alone.
Right.
There's 6 different versions of grammar between Canada, the US, and the UK. Like,
exactly.
how do you ever write a book that's grammatically perfect? You can't do it, right?
Right.
So I tell my clients, like, get perfect out of your head.
Right. That's a defense mechanism when you really, really boil things down. Perfection. I used to be a perfectionist, and it was just such a lie. It was such a lie. It was just a cop out for not doing what I was supposed to be doing, or being on time for this particular deadline or whatever. It's just so phony. I just get over yourself and just do it.
I think it's also a form of fear.
It is. Yes, you are so right. It is.
Because
Truly is.
You get afraid of putting it out there because of what might people think, right?
Right. What people will say, am I saying this correctly? I don't want to offend anyone, but I got to tell my story. All of these things come up, and that's some of the mindset work that you really have to do. People don't think that writing involves mindset work, but it does, because you're thinking about how is this work going to be presented and how is it going to be received, publicly.
Yes. So let's transition into the third section, because
you
and I are both publishers, so we have a quite an interesting perspective on this.
Okay.
So when you were writing your first book, what was the hardest part for you?
Wow. Oh my goodness. The mindset shifts, I would say, have been the most challenging. And I say mindset shifts because at every level of writing for me and every level of my life, I've had to make mindset shifts. So when I started out saying, okay, I'm going to write this book, my first book was a co-authored book in 1998, Emotional Wellness for Women. And I went from blank page thinking, okay, how can I do this? Is this right? Am I supposed to be doing this? And then by the time the chapter was done, I was like, okay, I got to get this message out there. So that whole shift, that was one mindset shift. Then I went from that work, the emotional wellness for women, saying, okay, yeah, I got to get this message out there, to the next mind shift being going to, okay, a book is not enough. What else can I be doing? You know, I need to my reach needs to expand. You know, so it's like the mindset shifts. And even in starting businesses, going from just like a beginning entrepreneur, the mindset has to shift where you're going from solopreneur to hiring a team and then hiring a team to like maybe branching out and letting someone, you know, become an affiliate. So it's like so many mindset shifts that have to occur. And these are musts, okay? M-U-S-T. They have to happen. They must happen, or you will not be comfortable. You won't be happy. And then you won't be able to write as your true self and really, really share your truth.
So you and I both know that books can play a really powerful role in building a business.
Yes.
So what results have you seen professionally? Because, you know, your picture in the background, you've got lots of books in there. So what results have you seen professionally after becoming an author in your business?
Wow. They've been, oh my goodness, they've been amazing. They have spanned across a wide spectrum. First and foremost, I have never been a big person to kind of sell that whole Amazon bestseller, or, you know, do this, you know, and play with this algorithm and get so many people to do. You know, I haven't really been big into that. My calling is to help you craft your story, get it out there to the people who need to hear it the most, and leverage your book for more lucrative opportunities. That's what I do best. Now, I know for a fact your publishing company is big on bestsellers, and you're not playing with the algorithm, so we don't even have to worry about that. But as far as the crafting your story and getting it out there, that's the main piece that I've kind of focused on. So for me, I have books over 39,000. I don't know what the distributor does and how they get them out there to book retailers, but they are everywhere. All of my books are out there. But I use my books in online courses. I use them for live streams. I also use them for in-person workshops, and then leveraging speaking opportunities. Yes. So one person may buy my book at a time if I'm somewhere, I'm doing a speaking engagement, or if they're buying from Amazon or Barnes & Nobles or whatever. One person may buy my book. But if I'm speaking, I may have the coordinator of the event, you know, purchase my books as part of my speaking opportunity there. And that may be 30 to 100 people who now will have access to my book. Another thing that I'm really big on, I am not a good salesperson at all when it comes to selling my book to bookstores. Now, I can sell stuff. I mean, I can talk a mile a minute, you know, I can talk slow, I can talk fast, you know, and switch it up, but I'm not good at that. So hiring someone who is good at that is what I like to do. And I have a couple of people that I use to sell my books to bookstores and online, offline, who actually buy in bulk. So I always tell my clients, you don't want to just get caught up just solely in selling your book to just one person at a time. Bulk purchases, that's pretty much where it is for me. And the results that I've seen, like I said, we're growing this company. I've been doing this for about 2 years now. And I've been able to help people share their messages, and I've been able to share my message and touch lives. So when I received my first email, I mean, I'll never forget, that email came on a day when I was just like really, really wanting to give up. I was like, this is not working. So that I received an email from someone that read my book, and I always put my email address and different ways to kind of, you know, get in touch with me in my book, my books. And she just went down the line of how the experiences that I had were related to what she went through and how it helped. I mean, and it was just so encouraging for me to help me to keep going. So you'll experience that. For anyone that's listening, you'll have people who you don't even know. They believe they know you because they read your book.
Yes.
They will come up to you and talk to you just like you're their girlfriend or guy friend or whoever, and they will let you know, this is what you did for me.
Yes.
This is how you've helped me. So yeah, it's been an experience. I truly love it. I've been able to kind of grow Testimony Publishers LLC. It's my husband's and my publishing company, and we're keeping it moving.
Awesome. And you know what? I just want the listeners to know that you don't have to be an international bestseller to use your book. Now, I have some resources to help and leveraging your network and everything to get that status.
Yes.
But the first thing I teach is how to use that book when you're writing it.
Right.
So maybe I'll have you back on again another time, and I think we need to continue this conversation.
Yes.
But we want to keep to our 20 to 30 minutes for each podcast. So Christina, let the listeners know, how can they get a hold of you? How can they find your books? What do you want to offer them today?
Okay. Well, the first thing, real quick, I will definitely, I would love to share with them the How to Write 1,500 Words in 15 Minutes or Less.
Awesome.
That's one of the newer ebooks that I have, and it's a free download. And you can find that at tinyurl.com/1500 in 15. So just type that into your web address bar and then get on over there. Download it. It's free, and it goes over how you can actually answer about 15 questions, and that will help you to get to that 1,500 words in 15 minutes or less goal. Another way that they can find my books or find out anything about me, I have the Mommy Podcast that I'm doing, where I help mompreneurs optimize marriage, motherhood, and your money. So they can take a listen by going to, and this is kind of funny, they can go to Amazon, look at my books, and look at some of the episodes from my podcast. And that is amazon.com/author/Christina Marcia Johnson. So Christina is CHRISTINA, MARCIA is Marcia, and Johnson is JOHNSON.
That is awesome. And now you had me on your podcast a little while ago, and so I'm excited for when that episode is coming out.
Yes, you are coming out the second week in December.
Nice.
Yes, so we will have you on and published and airing before the end of the year. Perfect.
And the goal's the same for you. So
thank
you so much, Christina, for being on today. And like I said, I do want to have you on again because I think there's more that we need to share with our listeners about publishing a book. But that's it for Author to Authority today. Thank you so much for listening, and we look forward to having you on the next episode.
Bye.